drawings of columns. Just several drawings of different columns that he could see in an Asura lab and stuff in order to get a feeling of how he would draw the columns for the game. So, I mean, it seems like they give a lot of depth into it, and I think the Asuran world is going to be, the Asura main city is going to be one unique place within the game.
Like a grand city, I agree. I do think that, I'm sure there's lore behind all the intricate drawings, but it also ties really well in with the personality of the Azuras, in that they like to feel and show off that they're very superior. And whenever they, make this really impressive grand city, and they have all these really intricate things that may or may not have any purpose, it's just there to even just show off, like bling almost, like, I can do this, what can you do?
They're cocky little rat things. That's what we got there. Yeah, so, and if those who are watching, should see in the bottom left-hand corner, showing off the Asuran city as it plays through whenever we're on the 4 boxes. Alright, so that's environment. Not too much other than that. Grand scale, masterful, big, whatever. Then brought us to one of our interesting scenes, I would almost say, which is the Hey Buka, smart Asura answers to stupid questions.
I like this one.
This was actually quite an interesting scene that we got here for this one. What was your impressions before we go through them? What was your impressions on the Hey Buka?
Oh, most columns are opinion columns. You like sending them some kind of message. I always think the entertaining ones are the really snarky ones that just like, you're doing it wrong, almost kind of reply. And in this case, it was very similar to that, but some of them were really unexpected in a good way. He's like, you're thinking in the wrong way. So, or I guess we should talk about the first one. Like, for example, in the first thing, it says, hey, Eric Buka, you're doing nothing wrong. Only the small-minded and pedantic would insist that the rotary delivered lemonade. I did not read the first part, but this is his reply to a man's lemonade turret that he made, and his problem is that his lemonade ends up tasting like gunpowder machine oil. So this is the reply. He says, you're doing nothing wrong. Only the small-minded and pedantic would insist that the rotary delivered lemonade tastes like previous outmoded versions. Turn your mind to proper marketing, I say. You don't have a lemonade turret, you have a fresh lemon-scented ammunition. Brilliance. When life gives you lemons, shoot them back at life with high velocity. So, like, I'm an engineer personally, and I don't know, I guess I consider myself a little bit snarky, sarcastic, and I thought this was great. This whole entire, column was very interesting to me.
I find it funny. I love later on, there's a person complaining, another person that writes to him, and is complaining about the Blood Legion Char Warriors, and them complaining about air. his final line of comment, he goes, if that doesn't work, I know where you can get a lemonade turret for cheap. So yeah. I think it brings about a more comedic relief feeling to this. The idea of this was to give us insight or idea, the feeling of the thinking and ideas of the Asura and how they think and what they feel about other races and situations. And I think it does a pretty good job. I mean, an advice column by an Asura sounds like a great Twitter feed for someone to come up with, actually. Someone's going to come up with a Buka Twitter now. I have a feeling I might see if they get in trouble.
I would love to see that.
At Buka. People start sending messages and sending Asura responses. We might need to actually send that into Guild Wars 2 and have them do that now. That sounds perfect.
I would send Buka messages with all my mouths.
That was, I like that. That was a nice midweek comedic relief there. So then we get into them talking about, they go into the next thing, the sneaky little geniuses. Angel McCoy on writing the Asura. So Angel McCoy goes into bringing back on writing here. Let's see what we got here. No, I should probably bring it up. There we go. And they wrote about the Asura and talking about different things, but along with this is the most thing they brought to us, little audio files for us to listen to here. So hopefully these play. Chat, let me know if these do not play. But the first one was Meet the Asura, and how they call themselves. I guess is what you can say here. So listen to this.
I'm particularly fascinated by the fact that the world's smallest sentient race is also its most intelligent.
What fascinates you about it? Seems fairly elementary to me. We're the top of the evolutionary chain. We're what happens when you eliminate weakness and waste. We're concentrated magnificence.
So they call themselves concentrated magnificence in this situation. An interesting way to look at it. I mean, I have to ask this because we were talking about this before. I'm guessing it's actual voice acting from the game, and I'm not sure what to think. It seemed okay, decent, but what do you think your take on listening to these was regarding voice acting of the Asura?
Well, these are supposed to be like smaller, kind of strange sounding creatures, so I wouldn't make a huge judgment on it. Voice acting, I'm going to wait for more human videos to be released in other normal sounding races. But even then, for me, it was good enough. I wouldn't say good enough even, because I think it was a little bit better than that. It wasn't terrible, in my opinion. I could manage listening to that as long as people don't spam that all day.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. So the next one that goes that they're technobabble. And if you read this section, they actually talked about how they were given the option to basically take out create their own words. They are given the license to make up words, combine words, to create something fantastic, and use existing words in strange new ways. So the writers of the Asura got to just have fun making up words, and I'm gonna play this right here, and it gives us a whole bunch of them.
My crew's on the verge of a major discovery in the field of sensometric in-speculation.
No kidding? Mine too. Except we're doing sensometric in speculation with a focus on fungal superbodies.
Really? Fungal superbodies? Interesting. Excuse me. I think I hear my lab manager calling me.
Nice weather we've been having.
It could be improved.
Oh? How?
I have some ideas for a cumulopolarizer to control precipitation.
So, I'm just wondering if I'm gonna play the Asura and go through this game, am I gonna be sitting there going, "What the heck are they talking about?" Most of this game, I'm gonna go through and be like, "Oh, what?" They're like looking up words myself and trying to figure out what they mean, that they're made up. Do you think it's kind of interesting and cool that they actually allowed them to come up with multiple ways to, or multiple words, create their own words? Creative writing in this situation?
Well, the last person I know to do that really was Shakespeare and rappers. So, I don't know. I think it's definitely interesting. In fact, I personally I can kind of understand like most they're saying. Sometimes they'll throw in a word there I don't really get, but they usually leave really good context words in there and you kind of piece it together. But I guess for some people it could be really strange to listen to and maybe you wouldn't follow along as well. But I'm sure it wouldn't really affect any major gameplay. Just you'd have to understand what's going on in your storyline if you're really trying to enjoy the lore.
So that's maybe what we should implement into our story. It's Shakespeare in Guild Wars 2 has entered in. They hired him to write the little story parts here.
Perhaps they're poets too. They could be wordsmiths.
Maybe they didn't know it. If anybody got that. So they talk about following this interconnectivity, about Asura being strong with their families, being loyal to their family, and their family kind of shapes them as they grow up. But they also go and talk about how the Asura talk smack to each other. And let's just hear what they say.
All muds are not equal, my dear. You must take into consideration the metals and the biological materials in your sample. Something as common as an embedded fossil can throw off the entire equation.
I love it when you talk dirt.
So I'm pretty sure, I don't know if he was talking to his mom there, or mom was talking to him in that audio file, but it sounded like they were just like raising him up and teaching him, but I love it when you talk dirt. For some reason I think I've heard that line before, but it definitely wasn't the word dirt at the end. I believe it's something to do with the word dirty, maybe. Who knows? So that's, yeah, so that's just a little bit on there, but let's go ahead and jump on to the actual part where they're actually smack-talking each other, and where they don't view smack-talk as negative, really. They don't take it in a negative manner and actually view it as just ways to jibe at each other to show how good they are, and then apparently it helps push each other.
Hey, sorry about your disappointment yesterday, buddy.
Hold on. Let's play this and then talk about that.
Okay.
Hey, sorry about your disappointment yesterday, buddy.
Thanks for reminding me, Scrit Kisser.
The ephemeral synergy of entropic disorder prevents it from reaching a ground state.
Actually, synergy is defined as a cooperative enterprise between two or more factors.
Technically, I would say process and not enterprise, but I get your meaning.
So the audio there was just them going back and forth with each other, it seems. I mean, do you find this unique, kind of, that they designed these characters around actually being smart alecks to each other?
Well, it definitely goes in with the lore they're trying to get. What I was going to say before was that the reason why they, well, I'm sure it goes in the culture before, but even more so, they're very rude to everyone because, like, they're actually kind of struggling people, even though they're trying to make the best of what they can. They're just very intelligent, so they're able to do very well in an area they're not used to. They just adapt quickly. But, you know, they're just forced out of their home very recently with the destroyers coming through, and really, you know, it's like kind of their mental armor for them, I guess, to not, like, be a victim, is what the lore writer was saying. So it definitely goes along with all the different things I would like about them, is that, you know, they're very snarky. It'd be funny to listen to some of the chat options, and also it ties in well to their personalities.
Alright, so let's go on to their next part here. We talked about group safety and how they realize how dangerous dragons are, but they will fight and do whatever it takes, even work with inferior races.
Our tactical officer is an inspiration, but lacks regard for personal safety.
Perhaps we could design him an armor suit or a protective golem?
That would only make him charge farther into battle. Instead, we could just make sure his replacement is fully trained.
So it sounds like here that instead of trying to find a way to keep their captain safe, the Asura decided that it was better to just make sure that his replacement was fully trained when the captain recklessly went into battle to die. So we got this, hey, we understand safety, but we're not going to so much provide that extra safety to this idiot. We're just going to make sure the next person in line is fully trained to move up when he dies.
Of course.
So, alright, that's the Asura for us. And then the final thing that they give us the Asuran Pirates. I think this might what I want to be for the game. Asuran Pirate. Let's hear what they say.
You scat-picking scrubs are in it now. We don't like interlopers who get between us and money. Mark my words, you haven't heard the last of this. Or us.
So, there wasn't too much there. Just got some pirate talk going on. But overall, what do you think of the Asuran's audio?
Sounds pretty good to me, honestly. I don't know what your opinion is on it. I'm sure we'll hear in a moment, but I've always liked, even if it's kind of almost bad actor voice acting, which in this case I don't think it is. I think it's like upper quality level. It's very clear, unlike my own microphone, and it sounds very nice, and it goes really well with the whole personality they're trying to get.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't sound too bad. The way people were talking about it being horrible, but it doesn't sound too bad for voice audio, and I don't know if that actually is audio for in parts of the games or something they just put together for this piece, but who knows, we'll find out. And hopefully the biggest problem I feel like is there wasn't enough emotion into some things, but perhaps the Asuras don't show too much emotions all the time. Maybe they feel it hinders their scientific methods. So after they talked about their sneaky little geniuses, they went on into the Heron Prior on animating the Asura. And this was interesting. I like this part. They're talking about animations and how they managed to do this with the Asura. They said they were the most challenging to work with when it came to animations. Now, the reason for this is that the Asura was small, And they decided from the get-go, albeit I assume